Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Jaelyn, and today I'm going to show you how I got this look right here. So, I'm going to start off by just doing some chapstick, let that set in while I am doing the rest of my makeup. And then I'm going to start with my brows, which also, excuse my face, I am severely broken out because I just came back from out of town when I filmed this, and my skin doesn't really like when I change climates. So yeah. But I did my brows off camera, and then I just used the concealer that I used to clean them up to also prime my eyelids. Today I am going to be using the NYX Swear By It palette, and this is another installment of the Two Looks One Palette series on my channel. So I'm going to go in with that like light beige kind of color and just kind of essentially blow it out all over my lid, mainly focusing in the crease, but then just kind of like a light dusting over the eyelid just so that I can set anything else that may be a little tacky, because as you can see, one of my eyelids creased already. And then I'm going to go in with that orange, and I'm just going to diffuse that through the crease. We want this color to kind of stand out the most. So, and I'm taking it pretty far over because I'll clean that up later. But yeah, I have pretty big eyelids, so I have a lot of space to cover. So we're just going to keep going back and forth until it's built up as bright as I want it. This one is the more simple look of the two that I'm going to do. You can kind of like mute it down a little bit if you want, so that it's more wearable for you, maybe on like a daily basis, or just something like simple and quick to do if you want to do something fun, or like you're gonna go somewhere but you don't want to be like too out there. And then I just took that yellow, which you'll see I had a little bit of difficulty with, but nothing like crazy. It was easy to blend and everything. It's just this eye gave me problems more so than the other one. So I had to reapply this color quite a few times for it to get to where I wanted it to be, and even still, it kind of wasn't there. But yeah, see, it's so pretty, and then it just kind of disappears a little bit. But it's okay, because we made it work. And then I just went in and kind of just blended any harsh lines, and then as you can see, the yellow kind of went away a little bit, but once again, only on this eye. And it doesn't look as bad on camera, but like in person it was like basically gone. But like the other eye was fine. So I don't know. So what is this? Time number, I think that's time number 4. I reapplied that. So yeah. Not sure what happened there. But yeah. And then I just went back in and once again blended that out, but very lightly this time so that it didn't disappear. And then I just took that like deep burgundy shade, and initially I was just gonna focus it in the outer corner because I didn't want it to be like too much. I just wanted it to define the outer corner a little bit. But you'll see I did end up bringing it into the crease, which I liked a little bit better just because it added depth back to my eyes specifically, and it didn't just look like one big like palette, if that makes sense. And like I said, this is the first installment for this palette. A more dramatic, but simple still, I think I'm going to try and do. So that way it is still easy to replicate, but it looks like you put in a lot more effort than you did. So stay tuned for that. If you have a specific look in mind that you want me to do, leave a comment down below letting me know, or you can DM me on Instagram at thelifeofjaelyn. Any pictures that you like or that you want to see me replicate, just let me know. As well as, like I always say, any other suggestions that you have for me, leave them down below. And as you saw, I dropped the brush there. If you couldn't tell, that was what that face was for. But we're okay. And then this is what, 6 now? Because it was 5, 6. Yeah, I don't know. And it's pretty. And it wasn't like hard to blend or anything. It just, like I said, disappeared kind of easily. And then I'm just like wiping away anything. I don't think I had any fallout, which was nice. But I am just, like I said, cleaning up those edges. I did end up doing a wing that I hadn't initially intended on doing, which was why I wanted more of that definition in the outer corner, but oh well, you'll see that later. Now I'm just going in with my primer, and this is the Cover FX Mattifying Primer, which I highly recommend if you are looking for a new primer and you have like oilier skin. I really, 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 really like this one. Keeps me matte the majority of the day. And yeah, I just really like it. It feels really good on the skin. And then I ended up taking that off because it just kept sliding up and it wasn't really serving its purpose anymore. So we took it off. But I think I put it back on later. And then now I'm just going to like set my nose essentially. And then any other areas that are raised. So I set my nose to kind of help minimize the oils that come through. And then I find that if I apply powder on top of like texture, it kind of does like this blurring thing where like everything looks a little smoother. Now this camera is going to show everything, so it's the same rules don't apply, but like in person it looks really good. And this is the Maybelline Superstay Foundation in the shade Warm Coconut, I believe. It's going to look a little dark, but in actuality, throughout the day, it ends up being a little light. But when I bought it, I couldn't remember what shade I needed. So I bought this one because I remembered that it was close. But this is probably more like middle of winter for me. And it's not anything crazy. It's like literally not even a half a shade lighter. And it doesn't happen unless I have like my makeup on for longer than like 10 hours. And the brush I'm using is the only brush that I have been using to blend out my foundation. It's the Real Techniques Instapop Cheek Brush, I believe. I highly recommend. And then this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect concealer, I believe, in the shade Warm Beige, maybe? I'll have everything that I use linked down below so that you have a reference, but then also new products to try if you want. And then I'm just blending that out with a sponge. And I do the middle of my face first because my forehead tends to crease. I have no idea what I was listening to. Like, I remember what I was listening to, but I don't remember what it was in that moment. But anyway, as I said, my forehead tends to crease. So I usually bake that before I go and blend everything else out, or else I'll be a hot mess. And then I just went ahead and blended out my under eyes. Sorry, I'm like not in frame, but I had to be really close to the mirror so that I can make sure it was seamless, you know, because can't be looking crazy out here. So once again, no clue, but I went ahead and just finished applying powder to my under eyes and my nose, and then that I did lashes and a wing. And now I'm just dusting off any of the excess powder, and then I'm going to set the rest of my face with foundation powder, which is the Maybelline Superstay Foundation powder. I used to use the L'Oreal Infallible Total Matte or something like that, and then they like stopped making it in my shade, so I had to figure out something else. And this doesn't work as well, but it's a very, very like close second, so it like does the job. It does what I need it to do. And I've repurchased it twice, so clearly I like it. So yeah. And then I'm just going to go back in and just do my under eye real quick. So I just took that first orange shade that we used, and I just kind of like smoked that all along, all the way until like the last like quarter of my under eye, just so that the majority of that essentially just follows the top. And then that yellow, I went ahead and did the inner corner all the way to about halfway over. Yeah. And that also helps brighten up the inner eye as well. And then I just took that burgundy shade on the very outside, I believe, just to like tie that in on the end, you know? And see how much of a difference that made? And it's something that like I don't forget to do, but I like kind of forget to do. Not sure. And then I am taking my Wet n Wild highlight powder in the shade Precious Petals with my Morphe something brush. I'll link that below as well. And then my Holy Grail, my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is the summer solstice one, which smells like coconut, which doesn't actually smell like coconut in my opinion, but go off. And then, but I'm like not mad about it because I don't like the smell of coconut. And then I am taking the MAC lip liner in Chestnut, and then the Dose of Colors lip gloss in the shade Seriously, which I mentioned in my summer favorites. So go check that video out if you haven't already. I'll link it in the cards for you and below as well if you want to watch it after you watch this one. But yeah, I believe that completes this look. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram so that you know when I post and how I post and everything like that. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you next time.